Hello, my beautiful children, and thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Miss Vega Says What. I'm Miss Vega, and I miss you when you're not here. I love it when you're here watching my videos. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. All right, y'all, this video is about cringe. And I'm actually super excited about it because my intended audience is children 9 to 14. And you guys like cringe. Y'all are very open to cringe as like a vibe and aesthetic. So you're going to use that as a strength, okay? So what I want to say, this video is actually about habits, how habits are established and how habits can be changed. And cringe is a positive indicator of where you are in a new habit, okay? So here we have you looking so cute. In this episode, you're seated at a desk. And this is representational, not really of your thoughts in this video, but it's representational of the density of the human brain. So you can think of the human brain as like a forest, a dense forest, or you can think of it as a cornfield and it's all, you know, like dense and it's overgrown. And to learn something or to form a habit, you have to forge a way and cut a shortcut, okay? So you're gonna start off at 0 and then you learn something new. And the more that you learn it, the more that you do it and the more that you practice it, it's basically you are chopping down and forging a path into a habit or knowledge. So here's the path in case you can't see it. You start cutting across the density of the forest or the cornfield within your brain. And you start, and it's called a neural pathway. And the neurons start firing and build a neural pathway. And that's what builds a habit. And so you take this same path all the time, right? Because if this is all forest or cornfield, you're not gonna wanna go through the bushes and go, you know, so you're gonna always take the same path. And that's how habits can be formed. But we all know that not all habits are positive habits. So when we want to begin to change a habit, the bodily response that you get back is kind of a feeling of cringe or awkwardness. So I'm going to explain that to you and show you how it's actually harmless and it's a positive indicator. I personally wish I could use a different example, but I'm going to go ahead and use this example. And I'm gonna speak to changing an eating habit, okay? So we're gonna say that you have a habit of eating Cheetos, or hot Cheetos rather, for breakfast. So you've established a pattern where you wake up or you're on the bus or wherever it is that you are that you consider breakfast and you bust out your hot Cheetos, right? So I'm gonna draw like a fire symbol. That's the fire symbol to represent hot Cheetos, which is what you're having for breakfast. So you've already established this pattern of hot Cheetos for breakfast. And now you're wanting to become a healthier person. Like maybe you want to now eat fruit for breakfast, right? But in order to do that, you're going to have to form a new habit. And the sensation of forming a new habit or doing something in a different way than you've done it before, you're going to have to forge a new way through this forest. You're going to have to create new neural pathways. And anytime you do something within your brain, anytime something happens within your brain, it sends a signal to your body. And in this situation, I've recognized that the signal it gives one is the feeling of cringe or awkwardness. And you can think about that in like a couple of ways. And so, okay, so here's this guy. He's going to try to build a new pathway of a healthier habit, but he has to cut down all the density, of the forest or the cornfield, okay? And then that sends a signal to your body like, ooh, cringe, because technically you have a shortcut. You could just take the shortcut, but you're trying to change your habit, right? And now he's going to go for, let's say, an apple. This is going to signal to your body that you're doing something new and you're using new muscles in your brain. And when you use it, this is the apple. that he's going to now eat, when you're using different muscles in your brain than the ones that you're shortcutted to or you're circuited to, it's going to give the bodily sensation of awkwardness or untrueness, because you're going to feel untrue to yourself because you've always thought the thoughts that you think on this path, and now you're going to have to think different thoughts to forge a new path. And right away it gives the body a sensation of cringe or awkwardness or untrue to oneself. But in actuality, that's a positive indicator that your mind is opening up to a new way of doing things. I also want to say that in this circumstance, and this is very likely to happen, it can exacerbate the feeling of cringe when somebody makes a comment. So like, for instance, this guy, if he was always if he was always enjoying hot Cheetos for breakfast and now he's eating fruit, one of his friends might comment like, bro, didn't you used to like go hard on your Takis for breakfast and now you're gonna be healthy, bro? And then that exacerbates the feeling of cringe. It's gonna make him wanna go take his normal path through the forest, right? Why wouldn't it? But children, you guys are more adaptable in pushing through that awkward feeling, that embarrassing feeling, that cringy feeling, and continuing on to forge a new path. So if you are feeling cringe, you can also compare it to muscle soreness. Like if you've started a new exercise routine and the next day you're sore, it's the same thing. It's your body's signal that you're trying something new. It doesn't mean stop exercising. Some people do stop exercising when they find themselves sore the next day, because it is hard to sit with that soreness as it's hard to sit with this cringe. But in actuality, it's showing you that your brain is forming new patterns and a new way of thinking. And the thing is that it might seem like a lot of work, but over time, this path then becomes your shortcut. This path becomes your shortcut. And this path, because you no longer are using it, just begins to be overgrown again with your forest, right? So then you build a new path. So that's the science of cringe. Cringe is a positive indicator that your body is willing and open and trying something new. You're thinking new, fresh thoughts. And so you feel unlike yourself because you're used to thinking your Cheeto thoughts, and now you're thinking your fruit thoughts. What I want to say also for the adults out there that watch my video, for kids, this is going to be a lot more accessible. They're going to be a lot more willing to push through cringe. And adults, I want to say that for you guys, forming a new habit in the same way does initially also feel cringy, but adults, we tend to add like another layer, and it actually is it feels more deep-seated, or like embarrassment, or what Brene Brown calls shame, right? There's a shame, especially if somebody makes a comment like, oh, whatever, then adults really tend to feel shame. So I want to speak to that because it's the same sensation, but when you are in adulthood, there is resistance added to that cringy feeling. But it's just like weightlifting. If resistance is added, then you become stronger. You still have to push through it. And children don't necessarily have that resistance to change yet because their path hasn't been established. It hasn't existed as long as an adult neural pathway has existed. Anywho's, my children, that is it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed the science of cringe, and just know that if you're trying a new positive habit and it makes you feel really cringy or really untrue to yourself, then you're actually doing it right. You're producing new thought patterns within your brain, which is what you want. It just feels unnatural to you because you haven't been that person, but you are becoming that person. So you're doing a great job. Anywho, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to hit like, subscribe, and most importantly, share with somebody who you think might need this information.